Good morning, everyone. We'll call this Community Emergency Services Committee to order. Bow with me, please. Our most high and mighty Father, we thank you for all of your blessings, your graces, your mercies. We thank you for all of those who protect us. Thank you for the gifts of all of the talent that we have in our local government. And come reside with us as we consider all the matters in which we maintain the life for our citizens. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Republic.
We have a full quorum, all three commissioners here. Have the minutes of the previous meeting. Gentlemen, what's your pleasure?
Second.
So moved. Mr. Johnson, is the agenda set, sir?
I believe it's set, Mr. Chairman. Ready to move forward.
Thank you, sir. We have a presentation this morning. Okay. Angela Bacos. Am I saying that correctly?
No, it's actually spelled incorrectly.
I'm hooked on phonics. I can say your name the way it needs to be.
It's pronounced Bacchus.
Bacchus? Okay. Thank you very much. Why don't you tell us what you have for us, please?
Well, good morning. My name is Angela Bacchus, and I'm the founder and executive director of the Resource Network. It happened by accident. It's not something I set out to do. I'm actually disabled, and this kind of fell into my lap, and I joke about it, that if God had showed me everything he was going to ask me to do, I would have taken a nap instead. But basically what I do is I track and verify community resources for Columbia and Richmond County. I verify them personally. I re-verify them every 6 months to make sure that the lists stay up to date. I then compile the list and distribute them to over 500 community partners right now between the two counties. As I started doing that, I started getting random phone calls from all different places looking for referrals, whether it was the district attorney's office, public defenders, the Georgia Department of Public Health, school social workers. So I started networking between them to make sure that the needs of their clients were being met. And then I started a Facebook page, so we have the list available to the public, and then also a closed Facebook group just for the givers in our community so that they can network without me having to be that middleman. I'm also a member of the Richmond County Homeless Task Force. I had wanted to do a conference before I began being on that committee, but as I'm there and we're going out on the street outreach and everything, all everybody kept saying is, we don't know where to go for help. And that's what I'm hearing from the food pantries and everywhere else. Nobody knows where to turn for help, and even the helpers don't know where to send them. So if we have resource fairs all the time and we have resource lists, because I send them out, where is the disconnect? Like, how come it's stuck in my head, but it's not in theirs? And I really felt like the difference was I heard it. When I call and I verify, I hear it. So I scheduled a conference, and the conference was me trying to replicate that for all of the givers. It was a little bit different, and I don't think people knew what to expect. But I had 250 of the most giving people between the two counties show up and trust me anyways. I told them it was speed dating for resources. So everybody got a presenter's packet. All of the presenter's information was right there. You didn't have to write down a phone number or anything. No PowerPoints. I wanted them to just listen. And they had 90 seconds. So we lined 10 of them up at a time, and it was just boom, 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 straight down there. Like I said, 250 people from both counties came. There was no charge to any of them. I'm very adamant that we don't charge because then we limit how much the information can get out. They were provided with their packets, breakfast, lunch, drinks, all of that, again, at no cost. What I would like to do going forward is to continue doing this, but alternating counties, because both counties benefit from it. So every 6 months, I'd like to do Richmond County and then Columbia County, and I would like us to share the burden. Because like I said, I do feel like it is successful. I did print off some of the comments that were made by everybody from GLM2, which is a sex trafficking recovery program, to child enrichment, Augusta Tech, all different kinds of places. Just Columbia County Schools alone sent 12 people, you know, and that was wonderful because I do work with them quite a bit. So the next conference is scheduled for October 25th, and that's at Savannah Rapids Pavilion. We can hold up to 450 people. Within the first 6 hours of me opening registration, I had over 50 people registered. And right now we're at just over 100, but we still have 2 months to go. So what I would ask you guys for is support, a service agreement, so that I can actually pay all the rental fees and not have to ask these people for fees. Because, for instance, Macedonia Church of Grovetown sent 8 people. Their food pantry is a little different than a lot of other ones. They serve everybody. So even our undocumented families, they can go there. They don't have to have ID. And the only thing they ask them is their name and how many people are in their household. And their numbers have increased so much just since June. But they are so adamant about becoming a resource center for their area because they know that there's a need for 8 people. If I were charging them, they wouldn't have been able to do that.
Can you define givers?
Okay, so a giver is anybody in our community that provides a resource or a company that pours into them. So in the networking group, it can be anybody from a school social worker or even the owner of a car dealership who likes to sow into organizations. The presenters that are at the conference are only the givers that are actually providing the resources. So that same owner of the car dealership can't go up there and present and do a 90-second commercial. It is only to share resources. And for instance, I was talking to 2 principals outside of a Board of Education meeting one day, and we were talking about resources, and I said, you know, there's so many programs people don't know about. I said, for instance, the Healthy Grandparents Program, and he's like, what? And Healthy Grandparents Program, if you are a grandparent raising your grandkids, it gives you some health benefits, it gives you scholarships for the kids for extracurricular and camps, Christmas gifts, back to school backpacks, support groups, and then on top of that, legal assistance for custody and adoption, which for a grandparent that's carrying that burden is huge. But so many people don't know about it. You know, and there's we have an incredibly giving community, but people have to know about it.
You say you verify them every 6 months. Mm-hmm. What do you verify?
So I go back through every 6 months. This is actually my month to do that. It's usually about 700 phone calls plus emails that I make. But I go back through and I re-verify that all of the information is still the same.
I mean, their contact information.
And their information that's on the list. So, for instance, the Lydia Project just changed their name. So I need to update that on the list. Or if a food pantry's changed their days and times or their requirements. So I just go back through and I re-verify. The Shifa Care Clinic is a free clinic. It's once a month. She's hoping to go to twice a month. So, of course, that's one of the questions that I ask her every time I talk to her.
The email said that operating under Compass for Hope?
So I just got incorporated as a nonprofit with the state of Georgia, but I am still waiting on my 501c3 status to go through. So Compass for Hope is another organization I work with. I handle all of their incoming donations. It is an organization that serves the homeless population.
I haven't had an opportunity to look at your website or your Facebook page. Do you have a board of directors?
I do, yes.
And do organizations come to you to be listed in your directory? Am I looking at a directory like a 211 information directory?
Similar, but the difference, like I said, I update mine every 6 months, and then on top of that, I build the relationship with the different organizations. So some of them do come to me, but some of them, you know, a food pantry might be like, hey, did you know about this person? But as far as referrals, obviously those ones are the ones that come to me, and I get them from everywhere. even DFACS or juvenile court, you know, and I'm like, how do you guys, like they don't.
So the people in need, final user of all of these services and donations, whatever it is, how do they get that information? Who do they go to find out where they need to go to get this help?
So what we found is usually when somebody is in need, they reach out to the one giver that they know. And it might be a pastor at their church, it might be somebody at a food pantry, and it could be something completely irrelevant to what that person is doing. It might even be a teacher at the school, and you know, our electricity shut off, you know, well, what do you want the teacher to do? But if they know where to send them, then we solve that problem. And homelessness, I mean, obviously is an issue, but I don't think it's always homelessness that is it. Like, what if we can prevent it? What if we can help them with that electric bill so that they don't get behind on their rent and then they don't lose their house? You know what I mean? Like, we can take it a step back, and instead of waiting until people are homeless to try and solve the problem, we can solve it before it becomes the problem.
When this is a job, are you getting paid?
No. I'm disabled, so this is volunteer based.
What you're asking of us is to help support your event on
October 25th.
October 25th.
You have an expected attendance number for that event?
Well, last time it was 250 that attended, and keeping in mind that they had no idea what I was doing, but the response was wonderful, and I had multiple phone calls and emails afterwards saying, you know, how come we didn't know about this? So I anticipate probably close to 400.
If we don't support it, how are you funding it?
Donations. So the last one I had private donors, company donors, and then Richmond County Parks and Rec, actually Commissioner Jordan Johnson was the one that was able to get the Julian Smith Casino.
To support this, generally with a 501c3, we require financials. What?
Yeah, so we would ask, what she's asking for here is a service agreement. We would do a service agreement. It would have to be with a 501c3. So she doesn't have hers. We would have to
With Compass for Hope.
get the financials from Compass from Hope, and everything would have to be run through them. It would really be their event if that's the way you were going to do that. It does require a little bit of legwork on our part. You know, we don't, as you know, when we do these service agreements, because of the gratuity clause in Georgia that doesn't allow us just to give money freely.
Right.
There is some background and some additional work that has to be done. So, it would take a little while to get all the information that we need from that organization. And then, of course, bring that back to this board and let you decide whether or not you wanted to give them.
My suggestion would be that you work with the staff to get all the information to see if it qualifies.
When will you have your?
I don't know. Right now, from my understanding, it's a little bit backed up, still due to COVID. I don't know that everybody is in their offices like how they used to be.
Oh, that's a grand excuse.
Yeah.
Supply chain is the other one. So.
Yeah.
And the other gentleman, Compass of Hope, is that Garrison?
Yeah, Mike Garrison.
Mike Garrison.
And I know Mike pretty well. I've known him a long time, so we could definitely get the information we need.
Well, and I know they just applied for the Community Foundation grant. All of that like prepared and ready to go, so I don't think it would take very long.
But on the first time, do it, but after that, if it's a reoccurring thing, they have to bring all their books in and up to, or I guess
we still check it. Yeah,
first time, I guess you do the same thing.
Yeah, we still check it. Anytime somebody asks for a service agreement, we still go through the same process to make sure that they have everything they need.
You can gather from this that this is a process. I mean, we're local government, but we're still not as nimble as going to the bank and issuing checks.
Oh no, I know.
There's this process that we go through for all of these requests.
Best news is there's no COVID excuses.
Might want to knock on wood. I'm just saying. They keep coming out with new strains. You never know.
Do you have a mission statement for your organization?
I do. I can send it to you if you'd like me to.
I think that may be helpful. No. All right, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We are moving into consent agenda. No, nothing there. Debate. We have community services.
Thank you. First item for consideration today are a couple of animal services donations. The first is from Elizabeth Halter for $25,000. I believe this is our third consecutive year that she's given this amount. Second is Carrie Goodwin for $100. Staff recommends approval.
Move to consent with a wow.
Yeah, thank God for Mrs. Halter. Okay. So moved.
Next item is Gateway Park playground repair. We have some play functions out at that playground that just have some wear and tear, sort of going on the third year out there. The swing has sort of pulled out of the ground, and one of the spinners is broken. A little bit of misuse, but mainly just overuse, wear and tear. So we'd like to replace those with some, we have some ideas for some sturdier equipment that we think will last a little longer. So this is the, we recommend purchasing this off the PCA purchasing agreement in the amount of $37,348.14. Staff recommends approval.
This seemed quick. Warranty on the stuff we bought?
The warranty just ended, and the play company told us that it wasn't their responsibility. So,
But of course.
we the particular equipment out there isn't great. So we won't.
We're not buying from the
We
same
won't be
company.
using that same company again. That's correct.
Move to consent.
I've observed that there's some use that's not age appropriate sometimes with some of that equipment.
Yes.
Is that part of our issue?
Yes. Countywide. Yes.
So how do we monitor that? Second on moving it to consent, but is there anybody there that's kind of,
I mean, if we're there and we see it, we'll say something, but that's about as good as we can do, fortunately.
no part of the playground shut?
Just those two pieces.
All right, gentlemen, so moved. Steve, do you have?
Yes, sir. I have distribution of our boot drive donations, and we would like to donate to the Burn Foundation of America and Columbia County Community in the amount of $32,154.82 each. Staff would recommend approval.
I guess we'd want that to go to debate so they can show up and get the checks.
Either way, it's however you want to do that.
So
We can make a presentation. If you send it to consent, we still do a presentation, but however you want to do that's fine.
We can still do a presentation outside of consent?
You could send it to consent. We can still do a presentation that day if we wanted to.
Okay.
Thank you. Move to consent. Good work. Thank you, Chief.
Second.
All right, we'll embarrass a couple of your guys.
We'll do our best.
All right. Is there anything else? Mr. Driver, do we have any legal matters? I love that when you shake your head. Yes, okay. Any other staff reports?
yes, sir. I have month of July's run report, the year-to-date run report, comparisons, and our budget report for July. And questions?
Gentlemen, any questions
No,
on
sir.
those? Do we have any commissioner or public comments? Nothing in executive session? 8:49, call us to a close. Thank you.